As early as the 1950s, there were Jesuits from France, America, Ireland, and China in the settlement. The ability of the Jesuits to successfully carry out their mission and adapt creatively to their circumstances flows from the principle of meeting the greatest needs where they are not met. The Jesuits in Singapore have answered that call to be on mission. We remember fondly the Irish Jesuits and one Singaporean Jesuit brother who began the work of forming our community. In gratitude for their commitment and service, we will pay attention to each one of them. This is the story of our parish.
The year was 1951. Father Patrick Joy, the Jesuit superior in Hong Kong, came to Singapore with the possibility of establishing a Jesuit community here. This gave rise to the building of a hostel for students and the Jesuits who were teaching at the university and the Teachers Training College.
In the latter half of 1954, Father Patrick Joy celebrated the first public Mass on Sunday in the stage room of Kingsmead Hall for the students staying at the hostel and Catholics living nearby.
As Father Gerard Keane recalls, there was already a close-knit, striving community of parishioners before there was even a parish.
Towards the late 50s, there was obviously a greater sense that a church needed to be built. He and Father Doody were the primary forces behind rallying the people to give more generously. Countless fundraising drives were launched, including a special fun fair at the IJ Convent on Victoria Street, as well as private appeals.
When the church was completed, it was an obvious choice to have the church named after the founder of the Society of Jesus, St. Ignatius of Loyola. It was a joyous occasion when the church was blessed and declared formally opened on 12 February 1961 by Archbishop Michael Oldsmundy.
Despite no air conditioning, Masses on Sundays had full capacity of almost 500, and before long, the parishioners, guided by the Jesuits, were able to set up many lay organizations that we have in our church till present day. Father Burke devoted himself mainly to pastoral works.
He often came out after Mass to speak with us and sometimes even walked us to our cars.
He was always smiling. He was a man of few words, yet approachable. It was Father Burke who baptized my son, Leslie Raj.
Father Kevin O'Dwyer was the clerk of works, and he was responsible for fitting out the church. When it was opened in February 1961, he was appointed temporary parish priest, a position he eventually held till September 1974.
We went to a few homes to get the census.
Father O'Dwyer had created this group. One of their first activities was to do this census to find out who were the Catholics living in the neighborhood.
He planted the seed of mission in me from a very young age. He was instrumental in me being active in mission work in many parishes in different ministries.
One year where the shepherds did not have a staff, he went out to a cane factory and ordered 4 staff.
In the early 1960s, Father Keane hosted a 45-minute Catholic radio broadcast each Sunday for almost 10 years.
I'm here at Father Reed's favourite tree. His 4 cornerstones were: be agreeable, don't argue, Don't criticize others and don't be too quick to defend yourself. He also patiently and painstakingly produced our parish newsletter sharing. He did this from the 80s to his death.
He began the first parish bookstore cum religious store, mama shop style, at the back of the old church.
Father O'Neill was a gentle, soft-spoken, humble and holy priest. In the sanctuary, he will never turn his back towards the tabernacle. This impressed me very much that I too become more reverent. He started RCIA at the Church of St. Ignatius in the 1980s.
Father Tom O'Neill was known as the singing priest. He would be walking around, serenading softly before and after Mass. Tom, as I called him, was much loved and revered by Jesuits and parishioners.
To me, Brother Tom was like a F&B manager. He provided breakfast for the parishioners every Sunday morning at the church canteen. He indirectly enhances the spirit of Christian fellowship in the parish through his food. He was a strict discipline master with the altar service, and many were those who felt the sting of his tongue. But as he would say, they needed it.
Father John Wood started the parish renewal experience in the mid-90s, conducted marriage encounter sessions, and was active in ME programs at the national level. He was involved in engagement encounter, choice weekend, and prison ministries activities too.
He started this youth choir which was called the Pilgrim Singers, brought a lot of young people back to church and participating. He also conducted retreats for the youth in our local schools.
He was close to the youth in the parish and was able to tackle their questions. He would answer like a wise old man with a pipe in his mouth. Whenever he baptized someone in the church, and when no godparent was present, he would ask me to be their godmother.
He's known as a 4G priest. Generosity. Father was there for anyone, anytime. Second G, guts. I think some of us would call it stubbornness. We all know that he's got this bad knee, but whenever a call comes that someone needs, communion or need anointing, Father would walk all the way from Kingsmead to Farrer Road bus stop. Gentleness. You would know it from the lines of people who come to him for confessions or who call him up and meet up with him and says, Father, I need to talk to you. The fourth G, glue. Father has this special ability to hold people together. This is the age of the internet. So I'm going to add one more G. Father is a 5G priest. And the fifth G is for grace.
By the latter 90s, 7 masses were said over weekends, and the need to renew the church buildings became apparent. There was not enough space for the throngs of children who attended catechism. Demands on the 5 Jesuit priests continued to grow heavy. After serving the community for more than 4 decades, it was no wonder that Father Leslie Raj and the congregation alike felt that it was timely to address the issue of the aging church structure and the need to rebuild and renew the parish spaces. In 1995, just a year after he was appointed assistant parish priest, he began discussions with the informally assembled Building Advisory Group, or BAG, to face the issues head-on. Then in 1998, Father Les was given the immense job of parish priest, and this responsibility grew to include the mammoth task of overseeing the rebuilding project.
The dedication of the newly built Church of St. Ignatius by Archbishop Nicholas Chia took place right on schedule. That was on the 12th of February 2004.
Father Les is an old schoolmate of mine from SGI. The rebuilding of the church to its present configuration is entirely due to the focus and determination of Father Les. As his friend and schoolmate, I was able to see that Father Les truly gave his entire self, body and soul, to his work as parish priest, to the detriment, unfortunately, of his own health. And we all owe him a deep debt of gratitude for his complete and total dedication.
Now, during Father Leslie's tenure as parish priest, Father Reed continued with Bible ministries, and Father Keane assisted with the catechetics. Father Joseph Yao's homilies were good and well prepared. He would take days to prepare them. Father Yao was a private person who tended to keep to himself, but when you get to know him, you discover he's a very approachable, patient and holy person.
Father Heng envisaged a parish goal with 3 dimensions. First, the spiritual dimension. Second, the social mission dimension. And third, the communitarian dimension.
Father Heng led the expansion of the Sacred Heart Hall and St. Ignatius Hall. There was also a new adoration room, a new canteen, and a commercial-sized kitchen. The number of hosts for Sunday Communion also grew by a few thousands. It was also Father Heng who introduced a womb-to-tomb concept, catering to the pastoral needs across all ages.
One of his greatest attributes is he's full of spiritual energy. He's got this magnetic force that draws people to want to work with him.
Father Christopher So structured the pastoral efforts of the parish around the 4 tenets of the new evangelization, as defined by the Office for the New Evangelization, namely, Word, Worship, Communion, and Mission or Witness, guided by the 4 principles from the social doctrine of the Church. For starters, as a parish, the first priority was to further enliven our Sunday worship. Father Colin discerned that there were 4 parish goals: to be more loving, inclusive, discerning, and apostolic. Each of the goals was to be emphasized in succeeding stages. The parish is now in the discernment phase.
We also mark the Ignatian year, which is the 500 years of the conversion of St. Ignatius way back in 1521. The lay people through the PPC Exco, through the ministries where we have 69 ministries and 14 NCC groups. They have always been there to build up the church to be what it is today. And to their contribution, we call them partners in mission. This year has been a great challenge with the COVID crisis, where we experience uncertainty, we experience disruption, we experience also a challenge to grow the community. It's an opportunity for us to renew the ministries, to renew organizations, to renew also leadership and members within the church.
Our immediate priority right now is, during these very uncertain times, to try to bring as much normality and a sense of rhythm back to parish life, then take advantage of all the benefits that technology has to offer in order to reach out to a larger proportion of the parish. A medium to longer term plan is for us to restructure the pastoral framework for ministries in the parish. We rolled out a pastoral framework at the last Parish Pastoral Council meeting.
I've been associated with this church since 1961, but my association with the Jesuits started even earlier, because I was in a Jesuit boarding school in Bangalore. And of course, I've seen this church expand in terms of numbers. It's been a great guide, the Catholic faith, and as expressed by the Jesuits. Study the Jesuit tradition, Jesuit charism. It has helped me in my life to avoid pitfalls.
My hopes for our parish is that we continue to capitalize on this very rich resource of Ignatian spirituality that we have. There's this wonderful culture, history, spirituality, all this wisdom in there that I think we can really use in our journey as pilgrims. My hopes for the young people especially is that more and more in the church they find themselves in a safe space where they're able to flourish, be able to respond to God's call on their lives, this individual call to live as saints, sharing their gifts and talents with the world, not just within the parish, but in the marketplace as well.
Something special about St. Ignatius is how approachable the priests are and also how involved they are in our parish. Their willingness to guide and meet us where we are is something that I always hold dear to my heart. Yeah, the parish has become my second home, from recognizing which masses people go for and even where they regularly sit. My hopes for the parish is that we continue to expand and nurture more faithful Catholics in the years to come. And as we continue to grow, may we never lose the vibrancy and fervour that our community has.
A strong and thriving parish community has been built over the first 60 years. And we look forward to the next 60, towards a livelier, more welcoming parish that is loving, discerning, inclusive, and apostolic. On behalf of the priests of the parish and the Parish Pastoral Council, we wish one and all a joyous and blessed 60th Jubilee. Ad majorem Dei gloriam, for the greater glory of God.